Welcome into your weekly Utah Lacrosse recap show. My name is Dane Stewart. Want to thank you for joining us. And just a reminder, you can catch this on both the Utah Lacrosse podcast as well as on KSLSports.com as KSL Sports rewinds streams and brings you content all year up into the state championship games on KSLSports.com. Of course, want to thank our sponsors of this week's episode, Heidemann and Associates. It's a full-service law firm. If you have any legal needs, the experts at Heidemann and Associates will take care of you for a free consultation. Just tell them Rewind sent you when you call 801-472-7742. Of course, you're all lacrosse fans out there. If you have any lacrosse needs, from team sales, tape, sticks, meshing, whatever you need, the experts at Tribal West will take care of you. It is your premier shop for your lacrosse needs, located right here in Sandy, 9860 South, 700 East. Visit Tribal West Lacrosse. If you have any lacrosse needs, they will take care of you and get you back out on the field in no time. Want to thank our sponsors for providing sponsorship of our content here today. All right, hey, we've got great stuff to dive into this week. We don't have a Magic 8 Ball, largely because, Dane missed quite a bit last time we did the Magic 8 Ball. So we'll get back to that. But for this week, we are recording this a little bit early. I've got some travel next week, and so we don't have college action to report on today. But we do want to talk about a lot of the high school action that occurred this last week, as there were some big matchups, including, we're going to start on the girls' side this week. Some great matchups on the girls' side from this last week. One that was really interesting for us, at least, was out of Region 5, Viewmont Bountiful. These were two programs near the top of that region, just outside of first and sitting in second and third. This was a really big matchup. It was the Vikings getting the 12-8 win over Bountiful. That will be a really interesting matchup when those two teams play again, but it was Viewmont able to stay within grasp of the undefeated in region play Woods Cross Wildcats. Viewmont, their only loss on the year, coming to the Cats as they'll look for some retribution in round number 2. That was a big matchup. The other matchup we want to talk about was up in Region 1, and this was Fremont and Syracuse. Remember, Syracuse had looked really strong to start region play. Fremont getting the win in this one, 14-10. Sargent had 5 goals to lift the Silver Wolves in the victory, in the big win for Fremont. We do have some great games coming up this week, but today we actually wanted to talk a little bit about the respective regions and where teams are looking for region championship pushes in those respective regions. So this is through games through Friday, April 19th. We're going to start down in 4A, and we talked about the Bear River Bears, and this was a group that has been spectacular this year. We had a lot of expectations for Bear River, said they might be one of the few teams in girls lacrosse that could go undefeated this season. And, they're still sitting at 10-0. 4-0 in region play, had region wins this week against Ridgeline, against Skyview. Those were two teams that, Ridgeline was an interesting one. That game was all Bear River, 17-1, as the Lady Bears, I think, looked pretty well positioned to repeat as that region champion. Skyview sitting up near the top of those region standings, as well as they also played this week. That game was Friday, and Bear River got the win. So Bear River looking like I don't want to say they have Region 11 locked up. There's still games to play, but man, it's going to take something for them to not come out as those region champions. Region 10, Waterford, Juan Diego looking strong. Can't forget about Judge. Selfridge, 35 goals this season. She's been fantastic this year for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Still a lot of great region matchups in that one to come out. I'm going to pick – nope, I'm not going to pick region champions. But watch out for Judge in that Region 10. That will be an interesting finish there as well. Region 8, Payson, Provo. We actually get an opportunity to see those two play this upcoming week. They're both at 3-0 in region play. Love what we've seen from Payson this year. Jacobson's been fantastic, over 35 goals for her this year to help lead that Lion offense. And just the one loss on the year for Payson as they try to remain undefeated and stand atop of Region 8 all by themselves. Again, they and Provo tied at 3-0 in their first 3 region contests. 5A, let's talk a little Region 7, shall we? Cedar Valley, Maple Mountain, both off to strong starts. How about the balance of scoring for Cedar Valley? Annalie Wright, 27 goals. Clark has 18. Davies, 16. Good offensive personnel there for the Lady Aviators, who have looked strong in their non-region, but also to start off region play. Maple Mountain, that offense is netting a lot of goals right now. They've played an extra game, but that could be a really fun matchup when that game comes. Region 6, we learned a lot about Region 6 this week. We had Brighton and Olympus. That game was one that was going to be of interest. It was Olympus taking care of business on that Wednesday night. 17-6 the final for the Olympus Titans, as Nelson had 6 goals. And if you aren't familiar, it's a trio of Olympus that has been so strong last year. They're back this year with Baker and Nelson and Ane. They're all over 30 goals for the Lady Titans this year as they improved to 2-0 in region play. Brighton's first region loss coming at the hands of the Olympus Titans. Park City, West Jordan, still both undefeated in that region. And we get an opportunity. One of those not going to remain that way. West Jordan at Park City. That game is set for Friday. That will be an interesting one. Park City 8-1 on the year, 2-0 in region play. West Jordan 10-0 on the year, 3-0 in region play. One of those teams will lose their first region matchup on Friday night. That will be an interesting one between the Miners and the Jags in Region 6. Region 5, still Woods Cross. And this team, 9-0, so impressive. We talked about the early RPI release in 5A, and Woods Cross was number 1. They have slipped just a little bit. They're 10-0, but the opponent's winning percentage in favor of both Park City and West Jordan, who have now leapt over Woods Cross. Of course, again, it'll be 1-2 on Friday night at Park City. So one of those may trickle down depending on the outcome of that game, and Woods Cross could move back up into a number 2 if they take care of business this week. Speaking of taking care of business this week for Woods Cross, they've got an interesting matchup. They're going to be at Bountiful on Friday. That's a rivalry game. Woods Cross Bountiful, one of the great rivalries in the state, regardless of sport. Bountiful 6-3 in region. Woods Cross 8-0, trying to remain undefeated and in the top 3 with the RPI. Matthews and Linton have been fantastic this year. Over 35 goals for each of those scores for the Lady Wildcats. 6A, well, boy, this gets really interesting really fast. You look at Region 4, and the way that things started, it's kind of been different teams at different times have looked to be maybe that leader in Region 3. I said Region 4. Sorry about that. In Region 3. And right now it's PG sitting at 3-0. They had the close wins over Skyridge and over Lone Peak. Those teams will play again. In fact, PG will play Lone Peak this week. That game will be Thursday. PG at Lone Peak as the Lady Knights, your defending 6A state champions. That's their only region loss. 5-1 in region play are the Lone Peak Knights, looking for a little revenge against the PG Vikings. We'll see if they get that done. New and Schwander, 25 goals this year to lead the way for the Knights. That may be the deciding game for a region championship. No pressure. Thursday night, that's going to be a good one. Region 2, and we now have no more undefeated teams. Riverton, 5-1. Mountain Ridge, 5-1. And only one loss on the year to Riverton, that coming in region play. The offense been great. Defense been good as well for the Lady Silverwolves. Blunk, Davenport, Jensen, and Bird. They've got a plethora of scores, all over 25 goals. It'll be interesting if anyone slow down Riverton as the season progresses. But the Silverwolves looking really strong with where they're at. And we saw that Sentinel group, again, whenever you got Emery Clark and Taya Chalk, they've got enough offense to keep up with people as well. These matchups could come down to the defense, and that defense for Mountain Ridge has looked locked in their region play up to this point. Region 1, the final region for us here to talk through. Farmington, 5-0 in region play. Macaulay, 37 goals. And Erickson's been great this year in cage, a 600 save percentage for the Phoenix goalie. Fremont, their one loss on the year, coming at the hands of Farmington. They'd love to get a little revenge on that, but they will have their opportunity as that game, the rematch, the second matchup between these two will be this week. And that first matchup was a 7-5 win for the Phoenix. And it will be Fremont on Thursday looking for a little revenge on the road at Farmington. That certainly has region title implications to it, as if Farmington's able to get the win, they would have themselves a 2-goal lead in that region, having played the second best record and defeated them twice already. So potential region championship game, or certainly heavy hopes for a region championship on the line Friday night or Thursday night in Region 1. Let's move to the boys' side, and we'll talk about this game, the game of the week. We previewed it last year, said potentially the game of the year up to this point. Had it this last week. Olympus at Brighton was a phenomenal contest, had great performances in cage for both Mason Frey, Caleb Johnson. Mason Frey, this kid had himself a night. We'll talk about that. But let's dive into the respective regions. Again, we will start down in 4A. And look, interesting week this week. Region 11, you're starting to see these teams in their region play getting momentum built. Skyview, Ridgeline, both sitting at 4-0, and they'll have their first matchup this week, Wednesday night at Ridgeline. One of those two teams will lose their first region battle. Skyview's been really strong this year. Ballard, Moe have led the way in scoring. Their defense has not given up very much at all through region play. Now, they're going to face a Ridgeline offense that can score. We'll see if they can score enough as first place in Region 11 through the first round of region play on the line this week on Wednesday. Region 10, Judge, 3-0 in region play. They had a rare non-region matchup this last week, and a surprising result. They lost to Westlake, actually had a lead in that one, saw that trail off in the fourth quarter as Westlake got the come-from-behind win. But don't let that fool you. Rome Swanwick, Judge, this is still the team to beat. I would say in all of 4A, certainly in Region 10, they defeated Juan Diego, only loss on the year for Juan Diego coming at the hands of Judge Memorial. Judge continues to look very, very good. Region 8, Orem, Payson, your two top teams in Region 8, both sitting undefeated at 3-0, 4-0. Big matchups for them coming up. Anderson has been good offensively. Arnoldson, near a 700 save percentage between the pipes for Orem. He's been fantastic for them through the early part of the region season. Move to 5A, and how about Region 8? Region 7, our apologies. Man, this whole basketball, the lacrosse thing, we'll get there. Region 7, interesting atop that region. You look at a team like Spanish Fork, they had to take on Salem Hills. In my mind, I kind of felt like those were maybe the two region favorites with region play kicking off in Region 7, and it was Spanish Fork getting the win over Salem Hills. They've got a couple losses on the year, but they're close. They lost to Riverton, lost that game by 3, lost Skyridge by 1. This Spanish Fork team, look out. They're building a lot of momentum, and I was interested to see if that carry into region, how they line up, match up with some of those region teams. Good returns in their region openers. They beat Salem Hills this last week. Region 6. All right, now let's get to the meat of it, right? We talked about Brighton and Olympus, that game this week. I was expecting a lot of offense, but it was the defenses that really shone on Wednesday night this week. It was at Brighton. Great crowd on hand. This game is available. You can go watch it on KSLSports.com in case you missed it. But, man, what a game for Mason Frey. The goalie for Brighton, you look at him, he fills out that cage, and he was very, very good. The Brighton defense did a great job of taking away opportunities for Olympus. Olympus was strong face-off. I thought Olympus played well in the midfield, but couldn't find ways to beat Mason Frey consistently, especially early on, as Olympus was down, I think, 3 at the break. It might have been 2 at the break, but they were down a couple goals at the break. They came out in the third quarter, bang, bang, right back in this game. The Titans were, but in the end, it was the sharp shooting of the Brighton Bengals getting the victory 7-6 over Olympus in that one, as Brighton remains undefeated. Your number 1 ranked team remaining number 1. Carrera was great. I hadn't had a chance to see this young man, but boy, when you see him in person, this kid is special, and a youngster as well. And I know talking to the Olympus staff, they're like, man, that kid, he is so talented. Maybe one of the best shooters in the state, and he's a youngster. He was fantastic. Cole Cummings for Olympus, this young man shone. And an Olympus team with Droich and Clayton, but it was Cole Cummings that was fantastic for them. I think he finished with 4 of their 6 goals. Cole Cummings did a lot of great things for the Olympus Titans, but in the end, Brighton getting that win 7-6. They remain undefeated, 12-0 on the year, 4-0 in region play. Park City sitting at 3-0 in region play, but Brighton putting the stamp on being the top-ranked team. All right, so Brighton 4-0 in region play, 12-0 on the year. Park City still 3-0 in region play. Just the one loss on the year for the Miners. But you look at the rest of this region, we've got a big region game coming up this week. You've got Highland taking on Park City. Highland looks so good in their non-region. Lost to East, lost to Skyline this week. And so this is becoming an urgent must-win game for Highland in any region championship hopes, given all the teams ahead of them, which include Brighton, Park City, East, and Olympus. This is maybe a must-win game for the Highland Rams and their hopes of a potential region championship. Man, Region 6, guys, it's for real. Again, if you weren't at that Brighton Olympus game, go watch it and get ready for a potential rematch in the playoffs at some point, because those two teams haven't had a chance to see Park City yet, but those are 2 of the best teams in the state. And when we talk about the RPI, effects of the RPI, when you look at in 5A, Olympus fell a little bit. Park City's record, Park City's opponents' winning percentage has them just a clip ahead of Olympus. Brighton now well distanced out in front at number 1. And if they continue to win, there's going to be no stopping them to a top seed in the 5A state tournament. All right, let's move to Region 5. Region 5 just getting region play underway this week. And if you haven't been reading through the tea leaves a little bit, Box Elder off to a good start. Woods Cross off to a good start, despite losing to Roy in a lopsided game for the Roy Royals, as Roy looking to get back on track with what the level they were playing at in their non-region. Don't skip out on Northridge, folks. Just telling you, I had a chance to see this team last year, and they've got guys back. Skousen 28 goals, Baldwin 22 goals. They started the year off with some early losses and maybe thought, I don't know how good they are. They lost to Brighton, Corner, and Alta. Most in this region are going to lose to those 3. This Northridge team trending up. Their offense can find the back of the net. They're getting good play in cage and the defense. I think this Northridge team is one to keep an eye on in Region 5. Of course, you don't want to look past Roy. They lost their region opener, had a nice rebound this last week. We'll see if they can carry that on. Box Elder's a team that is looking strong in the early going as well. And Woods Cross, don't sell your stock on Woods Cross yet either. The top of this region is going to be very competitive for potential Region 5 championship. All right, let's move to 6A now. And some interesting games in 6A this last week. But let's start with Region 3. This was a region that before region started, they were all kind of humming right around 500, maybe +1 or +2 over 500. But they all felt like all these teams were at a similar spot. And now region has started. AF, Lone Peak getting early region wins. AF over PG, Lone Peak over Skyridge. For PG, Luke Richardson's been fantastic this year, +30 goal scorer for the Pleasant Grove Vikings. That win for Westlake, I know for Judge, it's a non-region. It's 2 classifications up. I don't know the circumstance walking into that game, who played, who didn't, if there were any lineup changes. But that's one where Westlake can say, we just beat a team that is likely going to compete for or win a state championship. Granted, their classification's lower. But I'll be interested to see if that gives them any confidence or any momentum now with their region play getting ready to get going for the Westlake Thunder. Lone Peak continues to be a team I think you got to keep an eye on. AF with an impressive win this week as well over PG and really shut down that prolific Viking offense, which was the number 2 offense in the region. So it'll be interesting. That AF defense might be something to keep an eye on and have a role in determining who the eventual region champion will be. We move to Region 2. Corner Canyon continues to flex their muscle. Ika 32 goals, Morimoto with 26 goals. This Corner Canyon team finding their stride, been lopsided. Every region game has just been a challenge for their opponents. I think they only have one game this year where they scored less than 10 goals. I think. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty certain I saw that. Corner Canyon looks to be as strong as ever. And then Region 1, look, this region, buckle up, folks. We talked about the game we were at this week, Weber, Fremont. This was a must-win for Fremont. They lost to Davis. They lost to Farmington in overtime. Needed this for any region championship hopes, and was a close game at the half. In fact, we had a chance to talk with Coach Searle on the podcast this last week in case you missed it. And it was interesting. This game was 1-goal game at half. They blew it open in the third. I asked him, hey, what was maybe the turning point in that game? I didn't get a chance to ask you this question. We streamed that Fremont-Weber game. That was a tight game, 6-5 at the half. And in the third quarter, you guys just came out, took control of possession. I think you outscored them 6-1. What was your message at halftime? How'd you get those boys to come out in that third quarter and have such a dramatic response and pull away?
Yeah, we know Weber. We played them. We knew that they were going to be scrappy, right? And we just said, listen, boys, just take a big breath, right? Just go out, run our game. Don't worry, there's no pressure. Just go out and play. And, and it's been kind of our downfall this year, to be honest with you. There's times we play just absolutely fantastic. And then there's sometimes that we kind of just take the foot off the pedal a little bit. And we don't execute and we don't communicate on defense like we should. And you can kind of see those up and downs, in our games. And that kind of happened at Weber. And, it's funny. I told Coach Allred after, I said, man, I would not want to have to play you in the playoffs because they're just priming right now. You could just see, what he's building up there. And I was just glad that our boys battled back and kind of came out that third quarter with a little bit more oomph and kind of put a stamp on it.
Great insight from Coach Searle. And again, if you haven't had a chance to go listen to that interview, go check it out. It talks a lot about his background, his upbringing in the game, and then his experience as a coach and as a dad, having coached for very talented sons and having sons play at multiple levels. Great interview. Want to thank Coach Searle for his time. We'll bring you more of those coaches' interviews as the season progresses. But that was a big game for Fremont as they get the much-needed win to get themselves back up in play for potential region championship. They got a lot of work to do, and they need a little bit of help, but they can do it. Davis has been great. Still undefeated, 5-0 in region play, 8-1 on the year. Nick Johnson, 20 goals. It wasn't that long ago he hit a game winner in the playoffs to advance Davis. Heller's been great between the pipes, a 686 save percentage for the Davis Darts. Farmington continues to play really well as well, and we saw that Weber team. Coach Randy Allred, he's got himself a unit. It is a unit. They all play extremely well together. You better watch out for Weber. You might see that record and think, oh, well, they aren't that good. No, they're talented. It's a talented Weber group. So the top of that Region 1, really strong as well. It's going to be a fun finish up top in Region 1 in 6A. We talked about the RPI in 6A, Corner Canyon, Davis, Farmington, Fremont, Westlake. Those are your top 5 teams. Interesting to see. We talked about Westlake. Interesting to see them in that top 5. Other teams, Lone Peak, AF, Skyridge, all outside of that top 5. Weber at 9, Bingham at 10. We mentioned in 5A, Brighton, Park City, Olympus, your top 3. East at number 4, and Roy at number 5, followed by Northridge. And then in 4A, Juan Diego back to number 1 in 4A. Judge Memorial sitting at number 2. In fact, I think Juan Diego was still 1 because Judge had another non-region loss. Regardless, Juan Diego 1, Judge Memorial 2, Skyview at number 3. Those Bobcats, look out. They're lurking in the weeds in 4A. We got a lot of great games coming up this week. We highlighted them in some of the classifications. Also have to mention Farmington at Fremont game Thursday in 6A. Riverton at Bingham on the boys' side Thursday as well as they try to stay within grasp of Corner Canyon in Region 2. A lot of lacrosse action going on. We got to take a little bit of a break this week. I'm going to be out of town, so our game schedule, we're going to dip off a little bit this week, but we'll be right back with you next week as we'll bring you boys and girls streams all the way to state championships, which you can catch those live on KSLSports.com. Want to remind you to catch this episode as well on the Utah Lacrosse podcast. And of course, we want to thank our sponsors who make this coverage possible. Hyman and Associates, full service law firm located along the Wasatch Front. If you have any legal needs, you can check them out online at utah.law or give them a call at 801-472-7742. And of course, Tribal West Lacrosse is your premier destination for all of your lacrosse needs. If from club teams, team sales, tape, mesh, stringing, gear, whatever you need. Tribal West will take care of you. Give them a visit, 9860 South, 700 East in Sandy. I want to thank Tribal West and Heidemann Associates for their sponsorship. Thank you for joining us, and come back next week. We'll have more interviews, more content for you as, again, state championships, playoffs coming right around the corner. Speaking of, we got something special in mind for playoffs. Those RPI, the bracket's going to come out Saturday, May 11th. And I'm just letting you know, you're going to want to make certain you're around a computer. Saturday, May 11th, we've got something special coming up. We'll give you more details as we get closer on that, but make sure you keep your calendar clear. For Vince Francis, my name is Dane Stewart. I want to thank Coach Searle and everyone who helps make this podcast possible and this show possible. And we'll talk to you and see you again next week. Thanks for joining us.